So welcome back to the farm. So today we try and answer the age-old question, and this comes from just a long time of being a kid or being around kids or having kids. It's the eternal question of what's for dinner? So today we're going to try and answer that question by cleaning quail. The quail, I actually had my third escape today, and I have a modified cage system that is based on a Caternix quail, or Caternix corner quail cages, and they're modified a little bit, but I've had a couple of them get out. So to prevent that from happening, I put some bird netting over, because what happened was I went out to check chicken eggs, and a quail flew over. I guess he was trying to come to me, I don't know why, but the dog walked by, scared the quail, it flew up into the garden. So it flew up into this area of the garden, but then, as I went over to get it, it went through the fence there and made its way into the chicken yard. And so I was trying to wrestle with the dog to get her inside, because she's a bird dog and I didn't want her to get a quail before it was time. And then the quail was in the chicken yard with the chicken, so by the time I got the dog back in and then I ran back out here, there were 3 or 4 chickens that had the quail cornered and had it down, and it was just about to give up. I was able to get inside the chicken yard and rescue it just before anything happened. So the irony is now I'm gonna clean a bunch of them for dinner, probably tonight or tomorrow or sometime soon. So that's what we're gonna do today. There are plenty of videos out there for showing cleaning quail and how to cull them and how to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably not gonna show a lot of that stuff. I wasn't expecting to do all this stuff, as I've said in previous videos. I wasn't expecting to do any of this stuff until about week 10, but I got some information from Backyard Chickens, and I went to their quail section, and there were a bunch of people on there that said, look, 7 to 8 weeks is about the time I cull all the extra males that we have, because they start getting aggressive. And so I've had to separate out the males. So I had the males in 3 different cages. I've had to separate them out. So hopefully during work today, they survived enough that I can take care of them after work. And so I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna set up my bucket and my table and get all that stuff ready. And I'll have the hose out here so I can do all this stuff outside and go from there. This is a great little table and chairs that I got from my mom when she was in her RV days. And when she was done with it, she gave it to me, and it's turned out to be the perfect outside table, because I can fold it up and put it away. It doesn't take up any space, but it's also plastic and it's easy to wash. Aluminum legs, so there's no rust. It just all snaps together. Very nice. Thanks, Mom. All right, so I got my bucket ready, got my hose ready. I'll go determine which ones are gonna go out of the mix and which ones we're going to use for breeding. So I've got to go kind of look at them and study them and see which ones I want to keep. I know there's at least 3 that have had the backs of their heads pecked. They're going to be out, because that kind of tells me already that they're the weaker ones. So I want the better, stronger ones for my breeding, but I don't want them to be mean. So got to go through there and look at them and see which ones I want to get. Probably the bigger birds. Good, got 1 egg for today. Alright, so got the first one. I know that this one is going to be processed, so I'm going to go ahead and process it. Well, there you go. That's literally it. It took me, what, 5 minutes to clean it. So it's ready to go. It's ready to go in the barbecue, in the pan, whatever. And that's it. It's that simple. So I went inside and went ahead and got a bowl of ice water. And that way I can just drop my cleaned quail in there. As you notice, the flies are starting to show up already. It's immediately evident when something dies, flies show up. It's pretty amazing. So, one down and several more to go. So I'm gonna get these cleaned up and go from there. I'm not sure if we'll have these for dinner tonight or if we'll try them on another night, but that was really easy to process. I used the method that the New York Caternix guy uses, and that's just kind of twisting and popping off the head. It was really easy to do. I understand that you can do the same thing with the chicken. It's where the term wring your neck comes from. Kind of wring the neck and the head pops off of a chicken, and then if you tend to do it that way, then the chicken runs around the yard. But now there's modern processing ways of doing it so they don't have to run around. Same with quail. It's just held onto it, kind of pop the head off, and then clean the bird. And we'll be having meat tonight or tomorrow. So that's it, 8 or 9 birds cleaned, something like that. And so got them all cleaned up, and now it's just figuring out a recipe. I think I want to try the most basic recipe I can so I can get the flavor of the bird, of the quail. So that way we can get the flavor of the bird without having all the spices and all that other stuff taking over the flavor. I want to actually taste the flavor of the bird and see how it tastes. So what I did now was I put half of them in one cage. So I've got just about half of them in one on top over there, and I got about half of them in one over there. Even the whole time while I was doing all the processing, we got 3 eggs that were laid. It's kind of funny, one was on the back board up there, and I had to move the cage a little bit. As soon as I moved it, the birds knocked it off and it rolled all the way down. So the rollout part of the cage works great. Now hopefully I won't have any more escapees. So I've got 1 boy and 7 girls on one side and 1 boy and 8 girls on the other, I believe, if I counted correctly. So that should give the males plenty of hens. So the other side of it is we don't know how many fertilized eggs we'll get. So once we decide to incubate some more, then we'll collect them for probably about a week. And if everybody's laying by then, we'll wait till we're getting a pretty good regular bunch of eggs. We'll crack some open and we'll look for the white spot so we can tell kind of what our fertility rate is. Because it's not gonna hurt to eat them, it's no big deal. So we can check fertility that way, and once we get the fertility rate up pretty high, then what I'll do is I'll grab another set and we'll collect them for about a week and we'll incubate them so we can have more meat and more eggs and keep the flock going. So that's it. That was pretty easy. A processing day really wasn't that bad. And for a city boy, someone who grew up a city boy, the hardest part for me was actually dispatching the bird. So now that I've done it a few times, I mean, prior to cleaning this and processing this, I had only done a few fish, and that was on a camping trip one time. But I have to say, cleaning the quail was pretty easy as well. I hear a chicken is not as bad, but it is a little more work than cleaning a quail, because a lot of times you want to leave the skin on a chicken. I didn't leave the skin on these quail. So for the first time, I just skinned them, and we'll see how it goes from there. We'll see how we like the meat, because that's what I really wanted to find out, was the flavor of the meat, which it's all dark meat. So if you like dark meat, quail's the bird for you. Coming up, we'll see how we cook them, see what we do, and we'll see how we like them. So until next time, thanks for watching. Cheers.